Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about the best league in Germany if you're planning to do a road to glory. Of course, the Liga is the lowest fully professional league in Germany, with the Regionalliga, which is the league below the Liga, not being on FIFA and also not being fully professional. In the other direction, you're going to have to get promoted twice if you want to play in the top flight, which of course is the Bundesliga. So as always, with the squad guide, we're going to get started with the official rules if you want to keep your save super realistic. Of course, feel free to skip these. This is just if you're a hardcore player. So what do we have in the squad rules? Well, there is actually one that I haven't seen outside of Germany, and that's a rule saying that players under 16 are not allowed to play in this league. It's to prevent the exploitation of children, and I think it's a pretty good move. If you're thinking this affects youth development, no, because this league actually tries to force you into doing some pretty serious youth development of your own. If you're a regular team, so not a B team, every single matchday squad needs to include at least 4 people who count as German and are under 23. If you are playing as one of the 2 B teams, so that's Freiburg and Borussia Dortmund, you're going to need to include at least 8 German under 23 players to help the German national team get stronger and stronger. Luckily for you, there are actually no limits on the amount of players in your squad, whereas something like the Premier League, you have to name 25 and stick to that 25 players until the next transfer window. In Germany, you can name every single player. It doesn't really matter how many you have in your squad. So that makes it a little bit easier for these young player restrictions. When you're looking for youth players, there is actually a pretty strong focus on German nationality players, as you would expect in the German 3rd division. The next highest after the German 465 players in this league is 9 Turkish, so that's actually a pretty big gap. For reference, somewhere like the English Premier League would be about 250 English players, and then the next best being around 45 French players. It's way closer than you'll find in somewhere like the German 3rd division. But where else should you scout? Well, you'll be scouting Germany, probably Turkey as well, but then you should also consider scouting USA, which actually counts as EU under the Bundesliga rules. Switzerland, of course, German speaking. Austria, very similar. France is the neighbour to Germany, as is Poland, and these are the main areas you're going to be sending your youth players to. If you're interested in the other nations that count as EU, bizarrely, you've got the USA, South Korea, and Japan as the big ones, but even countries like Australia do actually count as EU to the Bundesliga. So keep that in mind when you are signing players if you want to keep it a bit more realistic. So now you know the rules and where your youth scouts are going to be going, but which team should you pick? Well, I've split the league up into 4 different sections, and I've put 13 of the 20 clubs in the league into one of these sections to give you a good idea and some good suggestions for each kind of club, no matter what you're thinking about playing. So we have the 3 championship contenders, and it's no surprise they're probably the 3 most famous teams in the league. You've got 1860 Munich, of course used to play in Bayern Munich's Allianz Arena before recently being kicked out and playing at their own much smaller ground. They do have a history of financial problems, but with young players like Dennis Dressel, Fabian Grellinger, Nicolas Lang, and Lorenz Knoffel all being really high potential on FIFA, if you do manage a promotion, you definitely have a squad to build of in the 2nd division. It's similar for Kaiserslautern, who are actually one of the most famous teams in Germany altogether, let alone just the 3rd division. They don't have quite as much high potential talent as 1860 Munich, but you might recognise people like Felix Goetze. You might recognise someone like Mohamed Enis Kiprit up front, who's got good potential, and Simon Fabio Stahler, again a good winger-striker combination, who starts off at just 59 but does have the potential to get into the high 70s. All really exciting if you do choose Kaiserslautern. Finally, in the championship contenders, you have Eintracht Braunschweig, who have been in the Bundesliga the most recently out of any team in this league. Once again, they don't quite have the same amount of potential as someone like 1860, but what they do have is a really good starting 11, with people like Berendt, Koblianski, Nikolaou, Fazic and Weiber all being absolutely outstanding for a 3rd division level team. If you're thinking you want a little bit more of a challenge than one of these 3 big teams, then I would suggest going for someone like Viktoria Köln, Waldorf Mannheim, VfL Osnabrück or Wien Wiesbaden. All very good teams, not quite at the same potential and overall to start off with, so there is a bit more of a challenge, but you will have fun getting them to the 2nd division, and with the right additions it's definitely possible to do that in the 1st season. Further down, we have 3 of the better historic teams in the league. They might not have the talent now, or they might not be too difficult, but Duisburg, Magdeburg, and Zwickau all have history in the Bundesliga, and they're worth trying to revive that if you do want to try and get a fallen giant from this level, and you think someone like Braunschweig or Kaiserslautern or Munich are all a little bit too easy. There's of course people like Tegucigalpa München in this league who have no history at all. They're in their first season, so maybe it's a bit more fun to you if you want to rewrite history and get these guys to the top for the first time. So do have a look through all the histories before you start a career mode in this league, because you do have potential with almost every team to make some history. If you do want a full road to glory, there's only 3 real suggestions that I can go for. Sport Club Verl do not have a very good squad at all. That's why they're right at the bottom of the league in real life. TSV Havelse, again, not very good in real life, not very good on FIFA. One thing they do have that no other team in this league has is a real stadium. So if you want a road to glory with a real stadium, then Havelse are definitely the choice for you. And finally, a team that was only added this year, FC Victoria 1889 Berlin, is a team that I've mentioned in many videos on this channel since I realized they were getting added to the game. They've got a huge amount of youth players and a huge amount of youth teams, all supporting their capital city club. So maybe if you want a road to glory where you've got the goal of becoming the capital city's best club, then maybe Victoria Berlin is the option for you. No matter who you choose, I can promise that this league is going to be really fun, and I can promise that because I'm doing a save in this league already. While technically I have actually been promoted out of this league into the second Bundesliga, with Braunschweig on the last day of the season I managed to get an automatic promotion spot, beating 1860 Munich despite them having a much better team. So it was a super tense save, super interesting. You haven't got a lot of money, you haven't got the best players. Every single team in the league seems to have at least one player who's super ideal for FIFA. Even someone like Zapata Pasu at one of the worst teams is actually really good on FIFA. So it's a tough challenge, it's really fun, you don't have much money, there's a lot of youth development needed, and a lot of the teams have a huge amount of potential despite them starting off really low rating. So I really do recommend that you do choose the third Bundesliga for your next save. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, because I am planning on doing a video very similar to this for the second Bundesliga coming out very soon. I know I haven't uploaded for a while on this channel, and that's just because it was Christmas and I was enjoying my time off, but thank you all for sticking around even though I didn't upload for about a week, and I can promise that you'll get 2 or 3 videos by the end of the year, despite it only being 3 or 4 days away. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Like the video if you're going to do a save in the third Bundesliga. Hopefully you choose Braunschweig because they're my favourite team in this league, although I do also always mention Kaiserslautern in almost every video that has to do with German football, but make sure to let me know which save you do by sending it on the Discord, where we've got about 600 people who all love hearing about your FIFA career modes and sharing their own. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check the description below and join. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you very soon, as I've said before. Thank you and goodbye.